Hello, my name is Martina Draxler. I'm a vascular surgeon. In this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to do an end-to-end anastomosis. This kind of anastomosis can be used in open aneurysm repair or for an extension of a vein graft which is used as a bypass. My assistant today will be Dr. Ziad Aladas. We will use two PTFE grafts as vessels. They have a 6 mm diameter and a length of 5 cm. As sutures, we are going to use two double-armed 5/0 polypropylene threads. Each suture has two 3/8 curved needles. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce the instruments to you. We have a Castroviejo needle holder, a pot forceps, a Metzenbaum scissor, and a Serafine. The first thing you have to do is adapt the vessel walls. Even if the vessels in our demonstration have the same diameter, I'd like to cut them into a slight angle. By doing so, I make sure that the knots don't lie on top of each other when the suture is finished. This can avoid suture-related stenosis. Now I check if the vessel edges have the same width and put the grafts into the clamp. In an arterial operation, only one vessel would be fixed, the other would be loose and could be stabilized with a clamp. Now we start with the first suture. I mount the needle into the Castroviejo needle holder with approximately 2/3 of the needle in front and inside the needle holder and 1/3 behind it. I pivot the needle to create a 120-degree angle between needle and needle holder. This positioning allows me to advance the suture forward. Try to avoid manipulating the tip of the needle, it dulls easily. I will start the suture on the top edge. The first stitch is done from outside of the vessel to the inside, and then again from the inside to the outside. Now I do the first knots. I do 2 in one direction and 1 into the other one. And set both suture parts aside in a Serafine. With the new suture, I will adapt the bottom edges of the two grafts. By doing so, you make sure that heel and apex of both grafts attach to each other and the distance between them is even on both sides. Now I hand over the thread to my assistant. His role is to guide the suture during the sewing. He holds the suture between his fingers, approximately in the middle between last stitch and needle. The part closer to the graft should be held under tension, the part closer to the needle should be loose. I do 2 stitches from the bottom . This stitch should be a 3-step maneuver. You push the needle through the graft, then pull it a little bit and put it back into the needle holder. And then I change the suture to continue from top to bottom on the front wall. Make sure that both vessel walls are inverted. I enter the graft perpendicular, and by rolling my wrist, I get out again. I pass point the stitch from the bottom and I'm done with the front wall. Okay. Now I switch the graft and start all over again. This is something you won't be able to do in an aortic repair. There you would have to sew the back wall first and then continue with the front. To speed up a little bit, I do the stitch with one bite now. Again, I use the three-step maneuver. You take the needle and push it through, pull it a little bit, and put it back into the needle holder. Push, pull, and put it back. Now I do the last two stitches from the other side. Put it through. Thank you. I do the final knots now. My assistant is going to cut off the thread now. He should leave at least 1 centimeter standing. Like this, you make sure that the knots of the monofilament thread don't get loose.